Facebook. We're back. Today we have Isaac Israel. He's over there sitting up at his wheel in his car. And Isaac Israel is an amazing part of the Las Vegas community. I have a personal connection to Isaac from years ago. I was contemplating doing comedy and called him on the phone. He stayed on the phone with me, a nobody, for about an hour, talking to me and encouraging me. So Isaac Israel is a funny comic, and he's a very nice, kind person to new people in the business. So I'm trying to waste time here while I find his intro that he sent to me. That's why I sound like a machine. I'm not a bot, but I sure sound like it.
Well, just say whatever's off the top of your head, Linda. You don't have to.
This guy's amazing. You can see. I want to do your bio. I want to do you justice. I asked for it. I gotta read it. Isaac Israel is a national touring comedian with residency at Las Vegas's Tickle Me Club down by Fremont Street. He has been seen, and you can still see him when you go to Amazon Prime, Nat Geo, and has the Dreamland Drive-In Comedy Show airing this fall. I can't wait. He's a comedian, a producer, a writer, and an amazing entrepreneur. And he's one heck of a nice guy to the comedy people in Vegas. Welcome to the little stage here of Comic Spot, Isaac Israel. Hi, Isaac.
Woohoo! Hey, Linda.
Hi. Boy, I'll tell you, there's nothing like a little fun, distracted driving, I'll tell you.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm so glad you got back on, so we have a good connection. Thank you for doing that. So
yes.
When did you start comedy? How many years did you go through life till you got on stage? How early were you funny, and how soon did you go on stage?
Yeah, so I actually went on stage for the first time in 2011. So it's been 9 years now. And that was in, let's see, where did I do it at? It's at the Gotham Comedy Club, actually. The Gotham Comedy Club was the first place. It's funny because, the first time I got on stage, how celebrity comedians do guest spots. Jim Gaffigan was there.
Wow.
and so I got to meet Jim Gaffigan on my first time going up on stage in 2011. And, since then, I did about a year in Manhattan. And then after that, went to Las Vegas, set up a show production, talent management, and marketing firm here. And finally set up our own brick and mortar Tickle Me Comedy Club last year. So that's the comedy story.
I want to tell you guys about Tickle Me Comedy Club. It's the most amazing experience ever. It's on the third floor, I think, of a theater building down in downtown Las Vegas, kind of arts district downtown where they two connect. Right. And you go up the elevator and you go into this amazingly huge loft-like area that's been set up like a comedy club. And he gets some of the best talent in the country coming through. I mean, this is not a place where you go to practice your comedy. This is where you go to deliver.
Yeah, I've been lucky. When I first started, I got to meet a lot of people doing comedy on the road, and even doing comedy here in Las Vegas. And so we're able to get those same people to perform. People have been on Comedy Central and America's Got Talent and Last Comic Standing. It's just terrific.
Yes, you put on a great show. I love it in there.
Thanks, Linda.
Yeah, there's really good Vegas regulars that go in there, and then you can see people from all over the country, just like you said. And you don't feel crowded, it's open and airy, and the people are so nice to the comics, and the customers will hang around and talk to the comics. It's a great environment.
Yeah, it really is. It's a little different from most comedy clubs. We have, Florida ceiling windows, and the ceilings are about, 20 feet high or something like that. And so it's interesting. So the dynamic of a comedy club usually is no windows, low ceilings, but we have more of a big theater kind of feel, and so comics like it, the audience likes it, because they're used to going into like a dingy basement type place, and this is not that.
No. In fact, if you go there, like most shows are at night, when you go there at night, you can see the most beautiful view out those great big windows. And oh my gosh, it's beautiful there.
Yeah, it's a nice view of the downtown.
And sometimes you have your shows down a floor at the bar area, and that's a beautiful spot too.
Yes. So yeah, sometimes we get the comedy club gets rented out for private and corporate events, but we still want to, have shows, and so we have another space in the 3-story building that we're able to do comedy in.
Yes. So tell me about this drive-in show that's coming up that you're part of.
So actually, we had the drive-in show. There's a company in town called Dreamland Drive-In, and they do drive-in shows at the Freshwater Studios in the back lot. And it's just so they've had 3 different shows so far. One is Jennifer Romas's Sexy Show, which is at the Westgate normally. They had a drag show, and then they had our comedy show there. And so basically, it fits about 25 cars, 4 people in each car, about 10 picnic tables, 4 people at each picnic table. So you get over 100 people there. And it's such a cool experience because you think there isn't that much audience reaction, and it's a weird place for the audience to be, but it's the complete opposite. People are honking their horns, tapping on their cars, sitting on lawn chairs outside, just relax, chill. They bring their own food, they bring their own drinks, or, we have a food truck there, we have a bar, and we were able to do that for 3 days a few weeks ago, and we're filming it for digital distribution. And so once that gets all completed and everything, you'll be the first to know.
Wonderful. I can't wait to promote that. So when you did that those 3 times, who were some of the people that were on your shows?
So we had Ty Rivera from Comedy Central. He also won the World Series of Comedy. Nikki Carr from Last Comic Standing. So we had Stephen Pearl, who opened for Robin Williams, and we had and a number of locals in town. We also had Murray the Magician from America's Got Talent was there. So David Lee, Jason Outlaw. The host was Evan Green, who was a public speaker slash a regular host for the comedy club. So we had a whole bunch of talent. Just really lucky to have them all there. We had Dylan Dillagath, who's a handicapped comedian, was there as well.
What's that person's name?
Dylan Dillagath.
Wonderful. Awesome. Evan Green, I've been here since December, and I came in October to visit. And since October, Evan Green's comedy has gotten so much stronger. Just in that short while. I mean, he was great back then, but he's getting so strong as a comedian.
Yeah, he really takes the role of MC and host very seriously at the comedy club. And
it shows.
Yeah, he's not a comedian that'll just go up there and just tell stories right at the start. He knows he has to break the crowd in, and he can't have the comedians go up to a cold crowd. And so we're really lucky to have him to be the regular host, because he really cares about it, and he wants to take that spot to a different level.
He's so good at it. He really is. It shows, that shows your heart, that you're willing to let him in, train him, and seeing him get stronger says a lot about you and Tickle Me Comedy Club.
Yeah, we try to do that once in a while. So initially, when we opened the comedy club, we also had open mics on Wednesday nights, and we do what we can when we can for the locals, because I started out here, so we want to do the same for people starting out as well.
I know you had been talking. I was in talks about doing comedy training, and then I needed to back out for myself. But are you planning on doing some comedy training when the pandemic is over, or online?
No, we weren't planning to do any comedy training. I mean, actually, you're the first one to approach us on it, so we were considering it.
Yes.
But it seemed like a really good idea. And if if you want to, I say, the more people that get into the business, the better, because it can help people's lives, not just by becoming a stand-up, but in all aspects of their lives, whether it's communication in the workplace, or being able to speak to or their coworkers, or able to run meetings. It's always good to have the talent of stand-up comedy.
Yes.
And being funny.
Earlier when we talked and everything froze up, you had mentioned how your first love was politics, and how you had been in the White House and in politics 15 years, and then you transitioned out. So help me make the connection from being in politics to getting up on stage. What happened that made you go on stage?
So yeah, I studied poli-sci undergrad, and then I went into I went into the Peace Corps, worked at the White House as an intern, and also worked in Congress, worked on political campaigns and stuff. And so after a while, you get really burnt out. And the whole purpose of me being in politics was to just be able to you know try to affect change from inside the system. And I tried doing that for 15 years. And so, there are many different ways of affecting change in public policy. And another way is that of being a performer or a stand-up comedian, because, part of what you do is not only to make people laugh, but to educate them. Yes. So I'm doing it from this end as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's something that has happened that's a high point in your comedy career?
Well, this recent Dreamland DriveIn Show was really, really terrific. I mean, we're looking to make it into a special and a documentary, and it also might be part of another docuseries. So it might be out there in 3 different forms. Wonderful. On digital distribution channels, and I can't say which ones right now, but it'll be out there maybe around December.
Wonderful. That's amazing. Yeah. I can't wait for that news to come out. I'll promote it, like I said. So
yes, thank you.
What are some ways that you'd like to tell people, anything from a comedic point of view, how to make it through the rest of the pandemic, or how you've made it through, like funny ways you've made yourself cope?
Mm-hmm. Well, take full advantage of this. This is the universe telling you, hey, you know what? We're going to stop everything, and you're going to get really good at what you love to do, and then do it. Okay? Do it. Take advantage of the time. And we're going to make you even greater than before the pandemic. So think about it that way.
I love that. What's a legacy that you're trying to leave? Because you've left one already with all that you've accomplished in your life. What is it that you have not done yet that you want to make sure to put your mark on before the end of your life, shall we say?
Well, in terms of comedy, I want to be able to establish, comedy clubs all over the U.S. and all over the world. It's like I want it to be like, the McDonald's of comedy clubs. For a long time, comedy clubs have never had a good business revenue model for them to succeed. You see the biggest comedy clubs in the world have only 13 franchises, 13 branches. And so I want to be able to create a self-sustaining model where people can invest in the comedy.
You froze up on me.
Can establish it, and I'm going to make it happen.
Wonderful. What if you became like bar rescue for comedy clubs?
Yeah, right.
That'd be cool.
That's right.
That's a good show for you to develop.
The John Taffer of comedy clubs.
Yeah, get him in on it. Have him do the bar seating, and you do the comedy club side.
Oh, absolutely. I've thought about that already. He lives here in Las Vegas.
Yes, that would be so dope.
Yep.
Who wouldn't watch that?
Yeah.
There's
Well,
so many comedy clubs that need someone to go in and do a rescue.
yeah, there are, and they're just missing something in their revenue model, and I know what it is.
Got it. That's
Yeah.
super. So, of all of the people that you've bumped up against in comedy, this is kind of my last question.
Uh-huh.
Who were you so amazed that you got to be around? Was that your first night at Gotham, or was there other times where you were like, "Wow, I can't believe I'm standing and talking or sitting and having coffee with so
Well,
and so"?
well, it was even before I got started in comedy, maybe 1 or 2 years before. It was Thanksgiving Eve. I don't know, maybe 12 years ago, 13 years ago, and I was at the Comedy Cellar. And I was at the 10 o'clock show. It ended at midnight. And then the host comes up and says, "Hey, we have a special guest for you. It's Dave Chappelle." So Dave Chappelle comes up, he sits down and he goes, "Yeah, I'm going to be doing comedy for the next 4 hours." And then literally for the next 4 hours, he did comedy. By the end, there was only like 20, 25 people left in the Comedy Cellar. We come out, we're on, I forget, I think it's on Mott Street. So we're on Mott Street. Is it Mott? I forget the name. McDougal. We're on McDougal. Like at 4 a.m. on Thanksgiving, and we just talked for another hour, 2 hours, because at the time my wife is Filipino, his wife's Filipino, and we just started talking about that. What a nice guy, down to earth, never showed any airs about him, and just was there, was
That
present.
is, yes. Yeah. I walked into a donut shop in Manhattan once, and he was in there with his wife.
Yeah.
And so I got the feeling he didn't want me near him. So I went to the other side. And I said, "Dave, if I stand way the hell over here, can I take a picture of you?" And he goes, "Yes."
He would have allowed you to take a picture of him really close up too, I bet.
Oh, I didn't want to bother him,
Yeah.
New York. Yeah. So what are some of the clubs that you worked when you were you did Gotham Comedy Club, and
yeah.
Did you do the Cellars?
Yes. And so,
wow.
Gotham Comedy Club, Comedy Cellar, the Broadway Comedy Club, which used to be the Improv, Caroline's, and then out west, it did Hollywood Improv, and so
been around this business.
Yeah, and then I'd start traveling around the country, and then there are these little spots and stuff I do around the country, and it was good. It was a good experience.
I'd like to wrap this up by going back, you guys, to the very first time I talked with Isaac Israel. It was probably 10 years ago. I don't know when it was. We could go back and look. But I was walking through Vegas. I was here. I was confused. I was thinking, oh, I would love to do comedy. And he says, "Let's talk on the phone." He was willing. And I talked to him on the phone about options and ways and things that I could talk about. He was so nice and patient. Look at all the things you've done in comedy, all your background and all the things you've accomplished. And you took time for me. Thank you so much.
Well, I mean, you're persistent. You're excited about it. You're passionate, and we're still in comedy after this time. So,
yes.
I'm glad I had the conversation. I'm glad you're still in it, and even with the circumstance that we're in, and you're personally in, that you're still, moving forward. It's a tribute to you that you have such a strong mindset, Linda.
Thank you so much. And thank you for taking time and coming on to Comic Spot. You guys, let's get behind him and support him. Where would you like traffic on the internet?
Go to ticklemecomedy.com to see what's going on with the club, or you could also go to Tickle Me Comedy Club on all the major social media platforms. And if you want to find out what's going on with me, go to Isaac Israel on all the social media platforms.
You got it. And then we'll find out when your next drive-in shows are, so we can come out and support.
Yes, I'll let you know. Thanks so much, Linda.
Thank you so much. Talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Everybody's talking at the